Welcome to Red Stars Report, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the latest news and commentary on all things Chicago Red Stars. I'm your host, LT.
I'm your co-host, Liz.
The Chicago Red Stars have won their second match in a row, their first home win since July 6th, only their fourth home win this season, and they complete the season sweep against San Diego 1-0 after Ludmila scores her first NWSL goal early in the match off of a fantastic cross by Hannah Anderson, her first career NWSL assist as well. And Chicago's defense holds on, for the rest of the match. Win 1-0. Ludmila, amazing. Liz, your thoughts on Ludmila?
Ludmila is just what a signing. What a get for this team. The goal, fantastic. Her play the entire game, fantastic. Hannah Anderson, again, fantastic. Also, shout out to B. Franklin on that. She was there was a lot of intricate passing going on to get to that goal.
Yeah.
But the work rate that Ludmila brings to the team is unreal. Like, it's just unreal, and she deserved a goal in that game for everything that she's done and from the all the minutes that she's played so far. I feel like for the Red Stars, she's given so much effort, and I'm glad that she finally got rewarded with a goal. And I say finally, and it's only been what? This is her third game, but
Third,
still,
yeah.
it feels like
Second star, third
finally.
game.
Right?
Yeah, effort, unreal. Like, I like she just doesn't stop. I love it. 7 duels won, the most, in the match. 10 duels lost, the most in the match. So really just challenging every single ball that's in her area, which you love to see, win or lose. I really liked her central pressing. Like we talked about that last week. Her and Allie are a really good duo up top like that. Um, Germa was giving her fits a little bit. And I think that was just Germa being like, you're not going to get the best of me twice, as she did in that gold medal match with the US versus Brazil. Um, I just those two going up against each other. It's funny that Ludmila's goal came off of Germa not marking her. Like she was marking Allie, which is exactly what you should do as Germa in the box. You should always mark Allie on a potential header, but that left someone else to mark Ludmila, and they did not do a good job. Uh, she was, I don't know, like just watching her just go after players is kind of something that I've really, really, really wanted to see in a center forward. We see it like at times with Allie. We saw it at times with Penelope when she was here, but Ludmila is kind of just like a constant force of if the ball is near me, I'm going to go after it. And I think that's really special. We've talked before about, for years about players needing to be able to keep pace with Mal, and there were plenty of times in this match where you could see just Ludmila just being on a full sprint, which we don't see too often of players. Her just trying to get into the box to receive something from Mal or Allie or something, and I don't know. I liked every single bit of her play, and she's only going to get better. She won the Discord uh, Red Stars Report Discord Player of the Match, 60% of the vote. Join our Discord if you want to vote in those polls every week. There's some pretty funny discussions sometimes, but yeah, she absolutely deserved to be the player of the match with that one. Last week, our player of the match was the entire defensive line. I probably should have made that an option again this week, but I thought Ludmila deserved to kind of just be on a pedestal of her own because she put that offense on her back and really delivered.
Full disclosure, I did not vote for Ludmila. I voted for Carrie Riccaro.
Understandable.
But She also had a fantastic game, but yes, I
and got 20% of
I
the
I
vote.
was I was waffling between Kuika and Recaro and Ludmila. So, that was where my brain was at. So, but yeah, Ludmila, the thing that I've noticed with her and the front line is that Mal, I don't wanna say Mal takes her foot off the gas or Mal, like, takes a breath, but it's almost like Mal realizes she doesn't have to do everything and be everywhere up front now. It's like, "Oh my gosh, there's somebody else up here." Not that Penelope wasn't doing that at times and Jamise and everybody, that's not what I'm saying, but Ludmila just brings it to another level. That's the thing. She is at another level with this, and I want to see constant battles between Germa and Ludmila because I was so entertained by it, and if Naomi Germa did not prove that she is one of the best defenders in the world in that game, I don't know, like, I know that San Diego she's their entire team right now, it feels like.
Yeah.
She was the reason that the Red Stars did not score more goals because there were opportunities and she was there, and I kind of felt bad for her somewhat because I really like Naomi Girma, but anyway, that's beside the point. But it just was a fun battle, and you could see that at times they were kind of laughing at each other. There was a point in the game where they had a moment, and because I think the ball went off, and they both were kind of arguing of who it was off of, and
Yeah.
it was really funny. Just that what I would love to know what was said back and forth.
Yeah, Ludmila went into the box on a breakaway, and, Naomi just ran her down, went to ground, stuck her foot in there, got the ball away for a corner. Very much like a "You're not gonna score on me." Um, like, "It's never gonna happen for you, not in this league." Moment for Naomi, and it was very entertaining, and when they went to go set up for the corner, you could see them just, like, um, putting their arms around each other, laughing and stuff. I obviously, this is a twice a year matchup that I'm gonna look forward to, as you said, and it's gonna be entertaining. I think this was the first time that I had seen, um Naomi play in person. Did she play in that Soldier Field match? If she did,
Oh
that would have been the
goodness.
first time, but, I
I
guess I
try
really
to
didn't pay
block that match out.
I guess that if she did, I didn't pay too close attention to her, but this was the first time with, like, a good view that I had gotten to see her play, and she's an absolute killer and, a lot shorter than I thought she was. I think it's really interesting that San Diego pairs her, who's a pretty short center back, with someone like Kennedy Wesley, who she did play at Stanford with. But Kennedy Wesley's also really short. So they really don't have any like tall options in their back line, or at least centrally. So that was interesting. And you could kind of see that it harmed them with the amount of long balls that Chicago was putting over the top of that defense to Mal, to Ludmilla. And um, it worked out in the end for Chicago, but, they're lucky there's not more than one Naomi Girma.
Yeah, she absolutely got totally left off that list for the Ballon d'Or, and it's pathetic, but anyway,
This isn't a
but
San
yeah,
Diego Wave
no,
podcast, by
this
the
is
way.
not, but we love
Ah,
Naomi Girma
sure.
regardless. But anyway, but back to their height, like, that's why we scored on a header. I mean, it
Yep.
makes sense because we had the height advantage. So feel like I need to say height FC, even though it really wasn't our tall players that
No,
scored scored
Ludmila's
the
not
goal at
tall
all.
either.
No. So,
She just
but yeah,
waited so well for that ball to dip back down. She didn't, like she didn't jump for it, too early, uh, didn't let it go too late. It was perfect. And
and
that ball from
Sheridan had zero chance.
And that ball from Hannah was just, oh,
Oh, yeah. So good. Yeah, Sheridan had 0 shot at that. She tried. I mean, she
no.
could have got she was as close as she was gonna get to that.
I think she got
Um,
a shin on it, but it still
yeah,
went into the back of the net. When those balls like bounce, when a player can like head the ball down like that and bounce it in front of net, like you will rarely ever see a keeper stop those ones. It's not too common. That's exactly what you're taught to do on a header like that is to bounce it if you really want to give the keeper some trouble. But the rest of the offense, it felt different, but it was very similar to other matches, like only 9 shots, again, pretty low. Some pretty big missed opportunities, mostly because Gurma disrupted them. But they did win 9 corners, which was really good for them. Mies was quiet in the first half, picked things up a little bit in the second half, which was good to see. Um, I think this is like her like eighth or ninth uh, appearance or start, or it's like she's still getting hurt and she's a rookie. Like, I don't expect her to just be on it 100% all the time, every match, like a veteran is. So she'll just get better. But I thought she had a decent match for the most part.
Yeah, I think that yeah, she kind of I feel like got lost in the match a little bit, like you forgot she was there, but then there's times where she showed back up and you're gonna get that with a rookie. Like it's trying to figure it out and you've got new players in and out here. You've lost Penelope, obviously. So there's a lot of just changes happening. And man, I back to like opportunities. That opportunity that B had in front of goal and that missed header, I was like, oh man, that would have been fantastic. And it happens, like, that happens. That would have been a Hyde FC goal if that would have gone in.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for the time, for Hannah Anderson and her to really start getting in on those corner kicks or crosses in and getting their head on it. But she had a fantastic opportunity, and that's the thing. Rookies are going to learn from their mistakes, and given like, we're getting chances. That's what I'm looking at, like, you're getting chances. So they'll convert him at some point.
Yeah. Let's not forget that Hannah Anderson did score a goal that got called off.
I still argue about that, but yes, she
I
did.
can send you the pro referee video that they did
I'm
on
still
it.
mad about it. I'm not going to
It's
accept
very in
it.
depth. It's very interesting. It's very much it was offside, but whatever. They how dare they for taking that away from Hannah? But now
Don't
she has
take
her
away our rookies' goals.
but now she has her first career assist, which was great to see. Um and Allie, once again, this is her second start in a row after um kind of being on the bench or not dressing for illness, injury, whatever it was. And I thought the stuff that we talked about earlier in the week, the sort of like defensive forward role that she kind of seems to have, it's very on par with what Lauren Donaldson has talked about with how their defense starts up top. And that's very clear that that's Allie's role, is to disrupt the defenders getting the ball to the midfield and trying to make things play out wide where you have players like Natalia Kuika who can be that second line of defense or be Franklin if it does get passed into the midfield. But I thought in general she got into the box and was ready to receive anything that came her way. I mentioned earlier about how she was there for that Ludmila goal, and I think she had 2 or 3 players marking her in the box, which is why Ludmila was so open. So like she draws so much attention with her head in the box. So like that's gonna help open up other areas for this team. So she provides that in such a big way. And when you have a player that's so heavily marked like that, it's a big difference maker.
Yeah, Blair Newman did a fantastic job this week of a breakdown of what Allie Schlegel brings to the team on defend like the defensive forward, which is an interesting position, but it talks about how she like what she does and how she angles her body and how she gets, even if she's not going to get to the player with the ball, how she gets herself in the way and shuts down passing angles. And it then when you watch it, you're like, yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. It's so smart. And you have to be such a smart player to be able to do that. Allie's fantastic at it. And then when you have other players like Ludmila and Jamise and Mal that can help press, that's where you create those turnovers. And it's just the system's coming together. You can see the plan. You can see the plan and it's starting to work and it's really, really awesome. And yeah, you have to target Allie on those headers. She's gonna throw
Yeah.
anything she's got at the ball. So you have to be constantly she is fearless and she's just gonna go after it. And that's how you end up with somebody like Ludmila kind of getting open on the backside and essentially a free header. That ball dipped perfectly to her and it was awesome. It was a very solid goal, and I love that we're scoring early in games. That is interesting.
That is true. It's good for us in the fact that if we do score early, we know that our defense is good enough to hold off and get a 1-0 win. I'd like more goals to be scored. That would be helpful for our goal differential, because that may come into play come playoff time. And then while we're sitting at -1 and the teams ahead of us are at like +4, +5, that kind of thing, like that's not going to be helpful. So they really do need to start converting their chances. But it was nice to see Mal really take another step forward into getting back to being herself after that illness that kept her off the sideline or kept her off and sidelined after the Olympics. She had her 100th regular season appearance in the NWSL this match, which was really cool to see. She got absolutely beaten up in this one again. Hurt her,
Maroney had her number.
hurt her shoulder again, as well as her back at some point after getting pushed in the back. It was, yeah, it was brutal. She just she kinda seems to be, a step slow at times still, really is trying to get used to these new players around her, but, she was the most fouled player in this match. Chesky even stated that after the 3rd one, one more against her, and whoever that person was gonna get a yellow, and then that person did get a yellow once Mal got fouled again, like, it was very obvious, but
Yeah, that was Lundqvist, and that was her 5th, so now she's out the next game.
yep. And I think she, like, on average, fouls the most in the NWSL. Um, but yeah, the last one on Maroney, where she messed up, her shoulder again after Maroney went through her back. Maroney was already on a yellow. It probably would have been a yellow card offense. I don't think Chesky was ready to pull a second yellow for something like that. If she wasn't on a yellow, she probably would have gotten a yellow in that situation. But I wouldn't fault any ref for not pulling that second yellow. I don't think it really deserved to screw San Diego in that way, but they were following her a lot, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I commend Jenski for like looking at all those players and being like, if you touch this girl again, you're getting a yellow. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think she did a fairly good job with this game refereeing, and I
yeah,
I I
I was
agree. I
not
didn't
yelling
want a
as
second
much
yellow.
while I was in the crowd.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't I don't think it was deserved of a second yellow. I think a stern talking to was solid enough and be like, "Okay, I let you have this one and I maybe shouldn't have, but don't do it again," type of thing. Like, that's enough. But yeah, Mal's been beaten up these last few games and it's too bad. I'm hoping that maybe with some of these other players coming forward a little bit more for Chicago, maybe Mal won't take such a beating. I don't want the other players to get it either, but maybe since they're becoming more of a threat, Mal's not going to be the only threat, so she's not going to constantly get um hit. But
Yeah,
I feel like Mal is constantly like coming back for the ball, so that's why it's so easy for her to get run through in the back, and it
yeah,
happens a lot because she's trying to get the ball and then turn, and they don't want her to turn obviously because it's Mal and it's scary. But yeah, I just I like how Chesky reffed the match, but I wish that we would stop fouling Mal because I want her shoulder to heal, whatever's up with it. I want it to get better.
yeah. She had one shot on goal that she took a pretty it's like a just a little too heavy of a touch on the first like gather and then just kind of had to try to put anything on it, and it went right to Sheridan. If it had, if she had had a better like settling touch, it could have had she could add a little more options to her left or right, to get it past Sheridan. But another absolutely gorgeous ball over the top by Hannah Anderson. Um, like looking like Tierna Davidson out there with these long balls over the top is crazy. I think she was like 5 for 8 on long balls, which is pretty good, and she's only going to get better. So that's pretty awesome to
We
see.
always give her love on this on in these episodes because she deserves it. She is so good, so good. And
Yeah,
I yeah, when she can start breaking lines accurately and getting balls up over the top, like, look out. But yeah, I would say that our midfield play was still a little suspect, I felt like in this game.
I agree.
I feel like Julia Grosso is still trying to find her way with the team. I think that there's good moments and then there's times where you forget that she's on the field. I think that her and B definitely complement each other well, as we talked about last episode. And that's a good pairing. I just think that there just needs to be more time for them to figure things out a little bit. But I wish that Julia would insert herself into the game a little bit more. Come back for the ball, kind of like what Mao does, and bring it up the field. I That's what I want to see from her. I want to see her go to the line and be like, okay, ask for the ball, and then progress it down the field. That's the next step I would love for her to take.
She had the same amount of touches as she had in Portland at 41. But in this match, it didn't feel like she was impacting what was happening moving forward as much as she did in that Portland match. At least as not as much as I would hope. She was playing a little higher um, than she played in the Portland match, which left the defense a little vulnerable at times. It felt like every time San Diego was progressing through the midfield, it was because Grosso was almost playing towards the front line. Um, I don't know what that tactical decision was to get her playing that higher up. I don't know if it was just trusting that B would be able to handle being like a solo six, which it didn't really seem like she could. Like what at the times where Julia was sitting back with her was when San Diego was turning it over a lot more. So I thought that was a really clear difference between the matches and why it seemed like Grosso wasn't getting into this match as much as before. I like when she sits back further and then can progress the ball forward instead of being the outlet. Um, yeah. There was one moment that I actually really appreciated with her play, though, because we've talked so much about the way that she just like picks her head up and makes her decisions. There was a moment that I thought was great. The ball was like skied in the air, and she looked up, spotted the ball, looked back down, and scanned the entire field and then looked back up to receive the ball back down at her feet and then immediately made a pass. And I was like, that's so different than what I'm used to seeing, where a player will just stare at the ball the whole time, wait for it to fall to their feet, and then make their decision. She looked away from the ball and was like, all right, where am I going to pass this ball when it comes to my feet? And that's the kind of stuff that I like to see from her. She's a good pro and she knows how to play.
She's been doing this for a while. Yeah, I think I recall that, play. But yeah, we just need to get more in sync, and I feel like it's going to come. I think that she's just trying to find her spot or her place and maybe playing her up at the front line. Maybe now she's like, "Maybe I can go up. Maybe that's not a good idea." Like,
Like, I could see what she was trying to do.
yeah.
Like, there were moments where the ball was moving forward and she was like, "I should be up there." And then she would get up there and then the ball would be turned over and then it's just be in the back line to stop San Diego's counter. And I felt like that was probably a little For a front line like San Diego's, that probably wasn't the best option.
I also am not the biggest fan of what we're doing on corner kicks currently. I would
I
rather just have Julia take them, instead of like a short pass to Mal, like, then just have Mal take it. I get that it changes the angle a little bit and it changes the timing of the runs. I understand the concept of a short corner kick. It's I just don't like it. Like, I don't think that Mal has been taking good corners or set pieces or whatever you want to call whatever the play is. I just don't think that she's been taking good ones, so I'd rather somebody else just do it. So I just would much rather see Julia take them, and I feel like that's been my echoed words before we even signed Julia Grosso because it was the other Julia at that point.
It sounds like we're talking about Bianchi because we've said this 1,000 times, but yeah, I get it. It did feel like I can understand what they're trying to do, when it comes to just being different, I guess. It's not just the same person making the same kick, everyone making the same runs. I get it. Um, but it's worked out for them once, like all season. So I don't I don't know. I don't think it's whatever they changed up in these last, like, what is it, like 3, 4 matches.
Yeah.
Um like, unless they can really nail it down, and players like Allie and B and Hannah are consistently getting their heads on the ball, when it comes to those, like, trying to make these corners into short corners, you're gonna have to change something up again, and maybe that is just, having, Julia take them, and then, like, they put Carrie at the top of the box, during those corners, and I would rather see Mal there. Um, I would just I would rather see a player who can be really composed in front of net, getting those rebounds if it does bounce back that way, and then have Carrie, be one of the people that are, in the box, or the one defender that's behind to be, that, last, defense on the counter. Um, but yeah, so something maybe could change, but we're almost at the end of the season. I don't know if anything's gonna change.
It's not,
Um,
we've been harping about it for the whole season.
but as for B in the midfield, she had the least amount of touches in this match of any player. She only had 23 touches, which is way too low. Um, really needs to work on the weight of her passes. Um, she makes the right decisions a lot. It's just she doesn't get enough on the ball or puts too much on the ball when it comes to those passes. I think more often than not, it's not enough uh, weight on the ball, which leads to some turnovers. Not as I mean, if she's not touching the ball that much, it doesn't lead to that many turnovers. Um, but if she does touch the ball more, the decision making is there. Uh, I just hope that her passing can be a little more accurate. But I love her play in the air. She's just a force when it comes to winning the ball in the air, and currently I would not want anybody else in that midfield other than her and Julia. They'll work it out. So I'm cool with our midfield, even if it's kind of wonky right now. It's not as wonky as it was the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's good. I think that B is just, yeah, as you said, kind of figuring it out, and I think it's maybe a little bit nerves and unknown, and I think pitch service also can do a lot to do with that. Like, sometimes some are faster, some are slower, trying to figure it out, and trying to figure out how fast your teammates are going too. Because if you're trying to make a
Yeah.
pass, some run a lot faster than others, and some go a different direction. I think it's just a whole rookie thing, but I like what I see. I like the energy. I like the physicality. I like the smiling and the positivity that I feel like she brings to the team. I love all of it, so I like her energy. So
Yeah.
I really like what she's doing on and off the field, and I'm excited. Hopefully she can get her passing better though and get more touches. Again, just like what I said with Grosso, I think that B could also do more of that. Go to the back line, ask for the ball, try and progress it up the field. She does a good job of, just like Grosso does, scanning the field and looking for the options rather than just kicking it to the first person she sees. So I like that. And so that's a good thing. I think she's just going to learn more from Grosso as time goes on, which will be really good because she's obviously fantastic.
Yeah, the way that our ball progression works right now is long balls over the top to the forwards or outlets to the outside backs and then moving it up towards the forwards on the wings. And not a whole lot goes through the middle. And that really could just be the way that teams play Chicago. It's a little more difficult to get anything moving forward, but that's mostly because our central forwards also like to play wide. You'll see Ludmila out wide a lot. You'll see Ali more in the midfield than you will totally up top. And then Mal and Mies, and then especially like Jenna when she subs in, really plays out wide. And it's like the right side of our offense this entire match was like that was everything. There wasn't a whole lot between like Taylor and Mal or Julia and Mal on that left side. There was a lot of Kuika to Ludmila or Kuika to Ali or Kuika to Mies. Like there was just so much of that. And then a lot of Hannah Anderson or Carrie Riccaro sending balls over the top, trying to hit Mal or Ludmila. So there's not a whole lot going through the middle at this moment. That's why we don't see so many touches for those midfielders. It's something that I hope that they change, because teams are just going to play you differently if you're just going to constantly be predictable going up that right side constantly. And it's how it has been since the beginning of the season when it was Maxi progressing the ball up that right side as well. It was very predictable. So hopefully that changes, but the long balls are getting better than they were earlier in the season, so that's a positive. But the defense in general, rather than or talking about their play forward, but their defense is unreal. Like second straight shutout, 10 blocked shots. The way that this group has stepped up to get better every match after Sam went down is great to see. They looked rough for a few matches, especially in that Summer Cup. But since they were rolled over by Louisville, they've really changed some stuff around and have gotten better. Um, their matches against Angel City, the match against Orlando, and then especially these last two wins against Portland and San Diego. They keep improving. And when you have San Diego playing Sanchez, Barcenas, Cascarino, Jones, Shaw, uh,
Ali.
Bennett. Like these are not players to scoff at when you have to go up against them in the NWSL. And San Diego isn't, meshing super well lately. So it's a little less worrisome. But when you have like Amira Ali, Elise Bennett, and Jaden Shaw coming off the bench, that's crazy. But Chicago handled them all really well.
Yeah, I was worried about Maria Sanchez because she was coming off a hat trick in the CONCACAF game that they had just played in. And and so I was like, "Oh goodness." And she had a really good game. Like
She
she
did.
created a lot of threatening balls into the box, and I think we're catching San Diego at the right time because I feel like they're going to click here in the next few games. I feel like they probably aren't going to make the playoffs, but I think that they're figuring it out. And so that is, we don't have to play 'em anymore, so we don't have to worry about it,
Sweet.
but yeah, we swept them, so it's all good. But yeah, the defensive line was fantastic. I looked up the XG because I think that stat is very interesting.
Mhm.
And I know you don't like it all that much, but I just am always curious for the sake of how many opportunities did they create? And San Diego is over 3, which is really high for most games. And so
Yeah.
we didn't give up a single goal, and they had a +3 XG, which is that's unreal to not to have a clean sheet from that. And so huge shout out to our defense for that. Just their willingness to put their body on the line every single game, go all out on all the plays, and the communication that they have back there is just it's getting better, and it's been really good even with all the changes that have occurred. And I can't speak any more highly of any of it. And moving Carrie Recaro back there was a super fantastic move as well.
Yeah, the end of that match, the whole group just sort of held off that last several minutes, plus stoppage. Just barrage after barrage of shots. 28 shots in total across the whole match. No goals given up. Just relentless defending, like last ditch defending, body on the line defending. You mentioned Kerry Recaro playing center back, 5 blocked shots. um, of the 10, like half of your team's blocked shots are Kerry Recaro. The other 3 of them were Taylor Malum. So like 80% of your blocked shots were your outside back and your center back. Like that's awesome.
And the other
That's,
block shots were the crossbar and the goalpost.
and that, yeah, I think it was actually I think Hannah and Julia, I think were the other blocked shots. But yeah, the crossbar was helpful. Uh I'm happy about that. But I think moving Kerry Recaro to center back, we talked about it. I don't know how long we talked about that for. Definitely since we saw that first match that she played center back after Sam went down. Like that was the moment that I think we really started talking about it. But even before that, I think even like earlier in the season, before Hannah Anderson's rise, we were even talking about the possibility of Kerry Recaro being the center back because we wanted other people to start playing in the midfield as well. Um, but I think it's interesting Kerry Recaro's uh, play and rise in this back line. I don't want to like I don't want to jump too early into talking about next season, but if Sam, comes back and Hannah's been playing fantastic, Carrie's just going to go right back to that midfield. I would assume so. I don't think she's long for this role. Unless you're going
I
to
just
start playing Hannah at outside back or something. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like you almost want to do that. I just want to say because like obviously it's later in Carrie's career. I don't know if she is built for our midfield. I think that she's built better for our back line. I think that she's an excellent player to have on the field. So whatever they can do, but I'm not sure. I would be curious, I guess, to see her paired with Grosso to see how that would go before I should
That's
make a
true.
lot of judgments on that. So I will withdraw my all of my stuff, but that would be I would want to see that before I would say anything more, I guess.
Yeah. Like I said, a little too early to be talking about that. We'll see how
It's crossed my mind though.
this
I'm
play,
right
but
there with you.
like every time I hear people being like Kara Carr center back forever, I'm like, I understand what you're saying because she's playing fantastic, but
You can't sit
You have
Anderson.
Sam Staub in the wing, and you're not going to sit Hannah Anderson, so you're going to have to figure something out of how to
3
get
center backs.
3 center backs. We just go to a 3 back. There you
We run a
go.
3 back, and that's what you do.
You could do that. Hey, that might work out. We'll find out. But yeah, I was sitting next to Boog in the Discord during this match. I decided to go as a fan. Um, I initially was deciding to go as a fan to this match because it was supposed to be Star Wars night. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. That didn't work out. Boog was telling me that the info that he had gotten was that the Riot Fest stuff sort of uh, played a role in the team not being able to do all the stuff that they wanted to do for the Star Wars match. So that really sucks that all that sort of put everything to the wayside when it came to that event. Um, but I just went as a fan anyway, sat next to Boog, great time, fantastic time. And I was telling him when I was watching Natalia Kuika, and I've said this before on the podcast, she just like moves like water. It's kind of crazy the amount of balance that she has. Um, I would imagine she's a very balanced person, just like in her uh life in general. She just seems so calm. And when she moves, like there's moments that I've seen in her career where she'll like get up on one foot and like kick a leg out to like block a shot or something, or even like step to a player. And the way she just like hops on one leg and then effortlessly just like moves back into her run or to chase down the ball, like it's just flows so beautifully. She's just so fantastic to watch, and I think we were like unbelievably lucky that she fell into our laps this offseason. I cannot speak more highly of Natalia Kuika and her play this year.
Yeah, she's always one that I like to keep my eye on during the game, even when she doesn't have the ball, just to see her movement off the ball and what she's doing. She took a heck of a shot in that game, by the way, from Sanchez.
Yeah,
Um,
that was
that was
brutal.
it was scary. It was the way her head snapped was really scary. But yeah, I agree. She has brought so much to our team this year, and especially with Staub going down, she has become a really significant leader on that back line. And now I'm so glad that she can play outside now that we dropped Carrie back because we're just doing so much better, I feel like, defensively.
Yeah.
But yeah, just love it. Was the crowd fantastic for the game? They sounded very
The
loud
crowd was pretty
on
great. I think
TV.
there was 5,000 people, which is a couple thousand less than the last home match, which I think was kind of expected. Because that last home match was the Olympic return one, so you're going to get a bigger crowd for that. But yeah, they were pretty loud. I enjoyed sitting in the crowd for that one. And I just I don't know. The the section that I was in, that I sat in with Boog, they have like yellow index cards that they hold up for when they want yellows. I had never seen that before. I had never looked over in that section before. It's pretty cool. And then 134 didn't look like they had too many people show up to this match, but there were I think they were kids all just like holding Chicago flags over in that section, just like spread out, waving the Chicago flags for a lot of the match. And I thought that was really a really cool moment to see, uh, to utilize that that space that's left in Red Stars matches a lot. But it was a pretty boisterous crowd, and I really did enjoy being a fan for this one instead of up in the press box.
Oh yeah. Speaking of voice, our voice of the team, Alyssa Nair,
Yes.
was pretty good. She I just love her. I love everything about what she brings to the team, and I say it every single episode. And she made some really fantastic saves and always does, and is always that vocal leader that I feel like the team needs.
She now has her 48th career clean sheet, 4 clean sheets away from tying Nicole Barnhart's league shutout record of 52. So let's just get clean sheets for the rest of the season, just in case Alyssa isn't back, and she can break that record, and we can be okay. I don't want this to
Can we
be
be okay? Can we be okay?
I don't want this to be like a Devin Hester situation where where he broke those records with Atlanta after he left Chicago. Like I want this to be I
Yes.
want to listen there to break these records with Chicago before she either leaves the team or retires. I need that. So Chicago's defense, keep doing what you're doing. Chicago's offense, score just a couple more goals a
Yeah,
game.
let's make it a little bit more comfortable. I would be okay with a little cushion in these
Just,
games. These
just like
one goal games.
just another like point 0.5, point 0.7 per match. Like I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Like a
I like
couple
3
2
goal wins.
nils,
Yeah,
couple 2 nils, maybe a 3 nil
give me
here
some
and
3.
there.
Give me some 3. Give me some thrashing, some 5-0.
Yes. 1-5-0, so we can catch up to our goal differentials that we need. Like if
Ludmila's
we
gonna go off for a Hattie, and then Mal's gonna get 2.
man, remember multi-goal games? Those are
Yeah, what
fun.
is that?
We d I don't think we've had a have we had a brace scored this season by a player? I don't remember. I don't think so. I
I
feel
tr
like maybe Mal once, but I don't know.
Schlegel
Uh,
didn't.
no, I don't think Penelope did either. Um, I don't know.
Ludmila might be one to do it this season
Hey, she
still.
coulda had it this match. She really
Yeah.
coulda had it this match.
Yeah, she's
Um,
insanely good.
but just so goal differential, like I said, will become important, especially in this next match against North Carolina. The last time Chicago played North Carolina at home, North Carolina is undefeated at home, but this one won't be in North Carolina, which is kind of good because our record at home is not super fantastic. But they lost 3-1 in that one. That was the Mal scored that only goal for Chicago. That was one of the matches with Tatum Malazzo's goal line clearances. One of her 5 this year, or whatever it is. um, so half of our starters are different this last match than in the match against North Carolina back in July. Um, so that's completely different game that we're kind of going into with this one.
And Caroline is back for North Carolina.
And just in time
Yep.
for Chicago, just like every other injured player,
Yep. But it's
last
okay.
year's MVP.
It's okay. It's fine. I bring it. At this point, bring it. Like I trust our defense fully. I think that we have a lot of threats on the front line now. So we like you can't sit back and just assume that we're not going to score. It's just going to be Mal. So I have confidence. I feel like Chicago is either going to get a win or a draw in this game. I really do. I feel like they're pushing it here. I think that they're going to make something happen, and I read somewhere that somebody said that they think that the playoff line is gonna sit at about 32 points is going to be the
Hmm,
bottom team. We're sitting at 29.
yeah.
So hopefully we could get a win, hit that 32 threshold that people are kind of roughly assuming might be the mark. It might not. That's just a guess people are kind of putting out there. But that would be awesome. But yeah, I think that there it's a winnable game. I really do. I think that they match up with North Carolina pretty well. And so I think that I think we can do well. And I don't think I'm curious to see how they will handle Ludmila as well, because she is a
Yeah.
lot to deal with as well as Mal. They kind of have that dual threat going on up top with speed, and then you throw Jamise in there and just look out.
North Carolina, I think they're at +5 goal differential, +4, somewhere around there. Chicago's at -1.
So
Um,
we need to score 6 goals.
Technically, since we're playing
7.
them, it would be 4,
4.
wouldn't
Oh
it?
yeah, because yep, you're right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Just need
Since
to
we're
get some goals
playing
up.
them, it'll just
Yeah.
we'll
Let's
rise as they fall.
yes.
And if that happens, then we'll be tied at 32 points with them, but we'll be ahead on goal differential. So 4-0 win, please. But
It could honestly happen. It could happen.
it, it
Absolutely.
could. Remember the North Carolina match that you and I went to?
I do. It was the
What
opposite.
was that? 4-0, 5-0
Yeah,
North
Davinia
Carolina?
decided to have a game.
Yeah, that was nuts. Um, North Carolina just lost to Louisville, this last weekend 2-1 after Bethany Balcer scored a PK in added time. Before that, they drew against BFC, who's been playing pretty well lately. So they've been slipping a little to the middle table teams. Of course, like we said, Caroline's back. Ashley Sanchez has been playing really great lately. Scary player to watch out for. Hopefully, B and Julia can kind of contain her a little when it comes to the midfield line. Um, Other than having only scored one more goal than Chicago this season, North Carolina has looked a little better offensively. So Chicago's defense may be the difference in this one yet again. Uh, like you said, I think they match up pretty well. Their overall like team stats are pretty equal, except when it comes to like possession and passing accuracy and stuff. The normal ones that we talk about that we wish Chicago was better at, but
Fine.
it's fine. But yeah, I think they've scored like 28 goals. We've scored 27. They've conceded I think like 4 or 5 less than us and have like one more shutout. But so pretty, it's kind of even. I mean, we're sitting right next to them in the table. It's not unexpected that they're pretty similar, having pretty similar seasons. North Carolina, I'm pretty sure didn't have like the greatest start to the season other than at home, and then they had a really really good middle of the season, and now they're kind of average. So it looked like for a moment that they were going to start climbing to the top, but they've kind of leveled out. So hopefully we've caught them at the right time where they've been kind of struggling against teams that played pretty similarly to them.
It'd be a huge win. It would be a big win when you look at the table. Um, Even if we won 1-0, it would still, with points and things, it would be super great. And yeah, it'll be the battle of the U.S. Women's National Team keepers, of course, with
Yep,
Casey Murphy and
sure.
Alyssa Nair. Everybody always likes to look at that matchup, even though it isn't really a thing. Like they're not anyway. It's always a thing, but it's not a thing. But yeah, I'll be curious. BSG will be back.
First time playing in Chicago against.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think that if we can kind of keep our eye on Denise O'Sullivan, um, she kind of dictates the game, kind of like Sam Coffey does for Portland. I think that that will be a big impact for Chicago. But yeah, I think it's a winnable game. I felt that way about Louisville, so hopefully I'm not feeling the same thing and it goes the way the Louisville game went for the Red Stars because that was not great.
That
But
was
yeah,
hard to watch.
I'm hoping that we can figured out a little bit more because it feels like every game we're getting it figured out a little bit. And so I'm hoping that we continue that climb of gelling a little bit more over the last few
Yeah.
games like we have been.
That match is on Sunday at 5 p.m. local time. I'll be back up in the press box for that one. So hopefully, um, if I brought any luck sitting in the crowd, hopefully that doesn't go away.
Then go
uh,
if it's then go at halftime. You have to go sit in the crowd
go
if
sit
it's
in the
not going
crowd.
well.
A couple of pieces of news before we get out of here. Sammy Feller was released from the team to make room for Maxi Rawl, who's coming back off of the D45 list. Maxi didn't dress in this one, but she's been in training. She hasn't played since May 25th. Sammy only played in one match last season with Chicago. Hope she finds a roster spot somewhere else in the world. Always hope that people continue their soccer dreams, even if it isn't in Chicago. But just injuries and some better defenders that play in front of her. It just didn't work out for her in Chicago. But Maxi's back, so we'll see if she sees any more playing time this season. She will be a free agent at the end of this season because the team doesn't seem like the team picked up her option. So we'll see how they utilize her the rest of the way.
Yeah, I hope that Feller can find a spot. That's why these leaks kind of that are growing now. It'll be interesting to see how these players get picked up that are cut or whatever or if their options aren't picked up, whatever may happen. With Maxi, she was really coming along at the beginning of the season too, so I'll be curious to see if she's in form. I know she's been practicing, but gameplay, that stuff, getting back up to speed, because that was a thing. Like she had to figure out the speed thing coming
Yeah,
into the league, and then she got hurt, and then try. It's gonna be a tough
double
transition,
whammy.
but yeah, I really liked what she brought though, so I will be curious to see how she does if she gets minutes. That's the other thing because
Yeah, there's not a
take
whole lot of changes on that back
no,
line, when it comes to subbing.
no.
Starter wise, yeah, but not subs. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one to watch, especially with her being a free agent at the end of this season. I don't know if she's long for Chicago. We'll find out. Um,
Somebody might pick her up though. I could see that happening because she showed some promise, I felt
yeah,
like.
absolutely. Rosella Ayani, the loan from Tottenham, was announced at the match, made an appearance in the stadium this weekend, not dressed. Not sure if she's been in training yet, but I guess just isn't match ready yet, obviously. Not sure if we'll actually even see her this season. I don't know. We'll find out. I don't really see a reason trying to meld someone into this front line that's already new. Like the line is less new than Rosella is, but still new enough that I don't know if you as especially as a starter, I don't think I would throw her in there. She might see some of those minutes that you kind of usually see from like Shay or Jenna or something eventually, but I with how long it took to get her into the country, and only 5 matches to go, I don't know how much we're gonna see of her, and then her loan will be over. So, I don't know. I don't know how this is all gonna play out.
It feels very much like Sandra Stark situation, kind of how she came in and then was very briefly here. But yeah, I mean, you never know that she could get minutes. She could be that player that kind of subs in, as you said at the end. That sometimes we see Allie Cook come in, or we see Nadia Gomes come in, things like that. But yeah, I will be curious. It feels like it was kind of just, "Hey, here she is. She's here." And
Yeah.
so, so we'll see. I'm curious to see what she brings to the table if we see minutes. I don't know much about her, so, um, I mean, if she plays for Tottenham, I feel like she probably like, if you play in the WSL, you're probably fairly decent, so let's go. Let's see what you got. Maybe she's going to be fantastic, and we'll sign her next year. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know much about yeah.
I have absolutely no idea either. Yeah, I'm just here. I'm here for the ride.
It's one of those mystery signings at the end of the year, so you never know what you're gonna get, and so as you said, we might never see her, we might see her, and I'm very intrigued, I guess that's the word I will use. I am intrigued to see what happens with her, and if she does take minutes away maybe from some of those other subs that we see,
Yeah.
because there's a reason that they went and got her. I feel like there's something.
Yeah, it's just hard with like Ludmila was signed and announced, and that was, like, during the Olympics, or right before the Olympics, and then Rosella was, announced just after the Olympics, and, I figured both of them would arrive relatively at the same time or maybe even, like, a week apart or something, but Ludmila took forever to get into the country, and then Rosella took even longer. Like Ludmila's played 3 matches with the Red Stars before Rosella had even, stepped foot in the United States. So I don't know how quickly she's gonna get acclimated. I don't know what kind of minutes she's gonna see. If she gets in there and she plays really well and brings something different to this front line that kind of struggles here and there, um, like I'm all for it. Whatever can help in a playoff push, I'm all for. I'm I have no prediction on this one. Just absolutely zero idea how this is going to all work out.
That's what makes it fun. It's just like we just don't know, and so it's like, okay, I hope we see her play just because I'm very intrigued by it.
Yeah. It's weird because you see like the Ludmila signing and you're like, that's a starter. like boom, she's gonna hop in here and change the whole thing. But I don't know as much about Rosella as I know about Ludmila, so it's a little bit different circumstances. Hopefully, whatever um, Rick or Babette or Lauren saw in her to get her over here. Uh, Hopefully, it helps. Her loan is pretty short, so I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's all the news we have for you today. And with that, we'll just wrap things up. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure that you hit subscribe and set your alerts up so you know that when our next episodes go live. Be sure to leave a like on our YouTube and leave a review on the podcast platforms that you listen to so others know to come to us for all their Red Stars content, our podcast or our Twitter. Follow us at Red Stars Report. I'm still trying to get better at Instagram. Don't worry, I'll get there someday. Uh, don't forget to join our Discord with the link in the description. And we probably won't have an episode next week because that match is on Sunday night, and we usually record on Sunday nights and all that jazz. So we may have to do 2 episodes for the following week or 2 recaps
And
for the
hopefully they're
following
wins.
week. And hopefully they're wins. I would love that. Nice, short and sweet. And yeah, so we'll see you in a couple weeks for another Red Stars report.